I'm Judy of Divina Cucina. Welcome back to my tiny Tuscan kitchen. Today we're doing a really great recipe that I've learned in several different places. When I started taking cooking classes in America, I took a class on Turkish cooking, and I learned a recipe called Circassian Chicken, which was poached chicken on rice with a walnut sauce on top. And then it was finished with paprika, pomegranate seeds, and a little hot oil. It was really beautiful. Here I learned a walnut sauce, which we serve on naked raviolis or just a beautiful spinach and ricotta ravioli, which I'm doing today. I bought spinach and ricotta ravioli. So this is a recipe that can go really quickly when you're buying some of your ingredients already made. So ravioli or potato gnocchi would be perfect with this. And today the walnut sauce, I'm using walnuts. And in Tuscany, we just use a little garlic. I don't like a lot of garlic, so I'm just going to use 1 clove. A little bit of olive oil, a little bit of milk, and bread. So today I'm just going to use some soft little rolls, but you can also use stale bread or breadcrumbs, okay? So the thing that takes the longest now, I'm going to put my water under boil. And while the water is boiling, we're going to make the sauce, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to break up these little brioche buns. Now, if I was using a hard Tuscan loaf of bread, I would take the crust off and then just crumble up my bread in here. I'm just doing a recipe for Andrea and I, so I'm going to use a couple walnuts and 1 of these pieces of bread. Don't really need 2, I don't think. And I'm just going to lightly soak this with a little milk. Now the Turkish version soaks the bread in the chicken broth where the chicken was cooked, okay? So I just need to soften this a little bit. And then I'm going to take my walnuts, because the fresh bread doesn't really need to be softened, but you get the idea. It's like making a stuffing mix or a meatloaf or something. You just need a little moisture in that bread. It's going to help with the sauce. I'm just going to use 1 clove of garlic. You can use more. We don't really use a lot of garlic here. It's, I think, surprising to people. The farther south you go, I think the more garlic you use. And I just like to cut it up a little bit to get this started. Now in Genoa, they do this in a mortar and pestle, and they serve it on their what's called panzotti, which is like a tortelloni, with spinach and this fresh cheese they make, which is really lovely. So that's that. A little drizzle of olive oil, like if you're doing, I consider this kind of like a walnut pesto, and always a little pinch of salt, okay? Now in Genoa too, they might use marjoram. Sometimes here I'll use fresh thyme or garnish with a little thyme on top. In Genoa, they might add pine nuts, of course, like the normal pesto. So let me just give this a puree and we'll be back. So you see how quickly this goes. Give it a few pulses. Open it, and I like to check and just move around. Make sure all those walnuts, you really want them to be broken up, and you want this to create a paste. A little bit more and it'll be done. If you were in Genoa, they also add a little Parmesan cheese, which is nice. So you could also do that. So again, I tried to show you a recipe as I learned it, but then there's a lot of variations. Every region you go to, you're going to get something a little bit different. When you have your pasta water ready, I've lightly salted my pasta water with sea salt. I'm going to add my raviolis, and they only take 3 minutes. Okay? So that's why you want to have these sauces already ready when you're using fresh pasta. Okay, so now we're going to prepare the sauce. So now I'm going to take some of my sauce, and look how this really thickens up, okay? That's way too thick to be putting on your pasta, but great for bread. Okay, so now I'm going to take some of this hot salted water, and we're going to lightly blend this and soften it so it makes like a cream. As it sits, it's like a walnut flour. It's going to thicken again, which is the purpose of flour, right? So this is almost like a non-cream cream sauce. It has a little bit of milk, but like I said, if I was doing the Turkish version, it would use chicken broth. But it could just be, you know, a non-milk milk if you're vegan. Okay. Just want to get all the lumps out of this. And now we're getting this beautiful creamy sauce, which is going to be great on the ravioli. So on the ravioli, if I don't put Parmesan cheese in this sauce, often I'll serve it with Parmesan on the side. My raviolis now have floated to the top, and now they need 3 minutes to cook. Back in a minute. Okay, so my raviolis are cooked now. So I'm going to just take them out of the water and into the sauce. So a little bit of that pasta water too will help thin the sauce. And you don't really want to stir this a lot. Just lightly move them around to cover them with the sauce. Flip them kind of, okay? And now we'll plate them up. Oh, it smells so good. And then after you've removed the raviolis, you'll notice that there's more of the sauce on the bottom of the bowl. And what you want to do with that is then pour that on top of your pasta. Okay. So like I said, some people like to add the fresh herbs, thyme or marjoram, or I've seen mint and parsley, but I don't know about mint in this, but it might be delicious, who knows. And the other thing you can do just before you serve this, to do just before serving, is to top with a few extra broken walnuts, okay? That kind of lets people know what's in the sauce, okay? So this is something very traditional in Tuscany, but you'll find it also in Genoa and other regions. So here is my ravioli with salsa di noce. Buon appetito.